And welcome back into the Sports Edge here, 590 The Fan, KFNS and KFNS.com. It is our pleasure now to welcome to our Blue City Spaces studios Ric Flair and the TNA heavyweight champion A.J. Styles. Gentlemen, good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing great.
Always good to have you guys. Rick, welcome back to St. Louis.
Thank you.
Always good to talk to you guys. Now, everyone is aware, and if you're not, let's tell you about it. TNA Lockdown, the big pay-per-view coming to St. Louis Sunday night at the Family Arena in St. Charles. You can get your tickets at the box office or at metrotix.com. But for those unfamiliar with this, every single match inside a steel cage. Can't beat it.
You can't get out.
I was watching some highlights. You guys were here a couple of years ago, AJ, and these matches so dangerous. But watching a match, not in St. Louis, but a similar version of this, where you're on top of the cage. Well, fighting a guy.
Now that's the match that Rick's involved in. I'm not involved in that match, so thank God. But not to say that I may not come off the top of the cage on this one. Who knows?
But Rick, talking to you a little bit in the break, again, I saw you on Monday night's show and talking all about St. Louis. This is like your home away from home. Everyone knows you're from Charlotte, but it's like this is one of your homes.
Yeah, well, it's so prestigious to be able to wrestle here when in my heyday, and you were fortunate enough to work with Sam Mushnick and come to the Keel and the Chase and the Checker Dome. You were in a really good place in the business, so I loved it here, and I had as much fun in the ring as I could possibly have, but I had even more fun at the landing.
Well, the industry, you talk about the cage matches and the things that become so automatic in the sport. It's just extremely, just getting more and more extreme. It just seems like it's come so far and so much more demanding. The competition, the stakes have been raised so much for you guys, and I'm old school. I just remember when a battle royale was a big deal, but now it's getting pretty exotic.
Well, like you said earlier, AJ flies off the top of the cages. I was always trying to get out of them. So running for my life.
But the competition has ramped up. TNA going head-to-head now on Monday nights with WWE. And, AJ, this is a great opportunity. You were with TNA, sort of from the beginning. And now, Hulk Hogan was recently in St. Louis. He's with the company. Rick, some of the mainstream guys. But TNA filled with young superstars, which we're going to see, obviously, all night Sunday night.
We have a roster that is second to no one. This is the best roster in professional wrestling, period. And, that's what we're all about. We're wrestling. We're a wrestling company. That's what we're trying to do. We're not competing with anybody except for ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, we're just going to go out there and take the crowd by storm, especially with lockdown and stuff like that. I mean, you guys have said it before, St. Louis is a great place to wrestle.
What has it been like for you, though, starting with TNA before the Monday night show and things like that, and now you get guys like Rick, and you're part of, you're with Rick every night now. What has that been like for you in your career, seeing it just sort of ramp up so quickly?
Well, it's been a roller coaster ride. I mean, we've went from station to station, from a little place in Nashville now to Orlando, and it just keeps on growing. I mean, that's what it's all about. And when you get Ric Flair and you got Hulk Hogan that says that this company is growing leaps and bounds, and who knows what it'll be like next year. And it's been a fun ride, and I'm going to ride it as long as I can.
And Rick, why, for you, you had a great run in WWE after WCW closed and did a lot of different things with that company and had your great match at WrestleMania. But it seemed like that movement to, quote-unquote, retire was not really all your idea. Talk about that for a moment.
Well, it really wasn't my idea, but it probably was the right thing at the moment. I was, there really wasn't a role for me there, and but they treated me with such respect and gave me the phenomenal retirement, and the whole weekend was awesome. And then of course to be able to wrestle Shawn. But in my heart, I wasn't ready to retire. I took a year off, and I was bored, man. I'm like Brett Favre. I can only go home for a couple months at a time, man. Brett will be back. We all know that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to spend 6 hours with their wife and 5 hours fishing and then 8 more hours with their wife.
Well, it seems like this role you're in now is perfect because you did the Australian turn with Hogan, but now you've gotten in the ring once or twice, but more you're on the camera all the time. You get involved physically, but you're sort of the mouthpiece of this new group, but it's such a great stable of guys.
Yeah, it is a great stable of guys. I mean, really, when AJ said a while ago, they've got a ton of young talent. The name recognition will grow as the brand grows, but they've got a ton of young talent that has a lot of potential to really do well and become big stars in this business. But it takes a while to establish the brand. It takes a while to establish the individual characters. But they got a big stable down there, and I'm having a ball. They're letting me be me. They don't tell me what to say. Just go up and be Ric Flair. I can do that real easy.
And you dumped that wheelchair a bit that they had you doing for.
I healed myself.
It was hilarious.
Oh, Nature Boy is healed.
It was great to see you wheel that thing so quickly. You had that down pretty quick.
You know, the highest praise I can give you is I took my daughters when they were smaller, spent a few years down to Scottrade to see a show, and you didn't wrestle, but you did you had an interview, you had a bit where you came out and you know, suit and tie basically, and you sold the show.
Oh, the autograph session. Yeah,
you were able to. You came out and just being you.
Yeah.
But being you is one of the great characters ever, and I mean, you can bring that energy into the ring, and you take over the show.
I just turned 13, so I've got just the energy is flowing.
Coming to St. Louis this Sunday is a TNA Lockdown. Again, this is going to be at the Family Arena. Tickets available at metrotix.com or the Family Arena box office. And here's the cool thing: what these guys do every time they're in town. There's an all-day-long fan interaction on Saturday. This will be at the Ameristar Casino. Now, from 9 to 5, you can meet basically everybody on the roster, $55 at the door or at shoptna.com. But then from 6 to 8, you can meet Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Sting in a special session there. That's $2.99 for those couple of hours there. But basically, everyone in the company is going to be at Ameristar, and you can meet all the young guys, all the heroes, all the favorites of TNA. That's a really cool thing you guys do, because not only you come for the event, you're paying money for the event on Sunday, but people can meet you, get pictures, take autographs, ask you a question or two.
Absolutely, man. It's all about interacting with our fans, and that's what we've always done. And I think it's important that we make the fans feel part of TNA, not just be able to watch it on television or just go to the shows, but actually feel like you're contributing to TNA and coming out and just, like you said, meeting a bunch of the stars.
And it seems like this is the way, WCW got in all that trouble financially when it expanded too quickly, multiple shows, multiple dates, terrible writing, all those things. It seems like TNA is doing it the right way of, keeping the Monday shows contained, building an audience, and then when things start exploding, then you can start doing more and more and more out and about. But it's great to see events like this in St. Louis.
Absolutely, not moving too fast, but going fast enough to to keep growing and not being content with where we are. I mean, we're a growing company, and we're going to keep growing. I mean, the future's right there in the palm of our hands.
Yeah, it's not a bad gig going to Orlando every week, 2 days.
That's not bad.
And for the women that come into the area, there's two versions of Space Mountain within a block.
Fantastic.
One at Disney and one over at Universal Studios.
Ric Flair, A.J. Styles with us here on 590 The Fan, KFNS, and KFNS.com. Rick, what's your relationship like with Hulk Hogan? It's always been one of those, the two big stars of the business, and you said a thing or two in your first book, but you did the Australia tour. What's your relationship been like?
Well, I've never not respected Hulk. We have never disagreed on. We've never agreed in business. But for the first time, we've put our thinking caps on together, and I've always respected Hulk. Who wouldn't have? He took the brand of pro wrestling, to another level with himself, and his ability to go to Hollywood and reach out and make no mistake about it. Hulk's a big player, guys. But we, it's just funny. We both got divorced. I called that tour the alimony tour in Australia. So yeah, it's great, man. I really enjoy being around him. We're never going to be best friends, but we agree to disagree now. Whereas before we wouldn't talk.
What about Bischoff?
Oh, he's been great.
Been great.
Yeah, he's it was a learning experience for him. To become the head of a company that's owned by Ted Turner was one thing, because Ted was so much not a closet fan, but he liked wrestling, right?
Yeah.
But when Time Warner Online came in, it became so scrutinized that they pretty much pushed the button to get rid of wrestling. It wasn't Ted, but Ted didn't have any power then.
Well, I would think your experience is so valuable because you were, a part of the company and you saw all the mistakes that WCW made along the way. You can help now, give your advice, and lend a hand to say, look, guys, one company already screwed up doing that.
Yeah. Well, the key is to keep the salaries in place. That's what killed us.
Yeah.
You got to be able to earn that kind of money to command it. We were paying a lot of guys a lot of money that weren't, couldn't walk the aisle, so to speak.
Couldn't even come down to the ring.
Really.
Literally.
Literally.